Hey guys, and welcome back to another Fantasy Friday with me. So, you've been waiting for this, I'm pretty sure, for a little while now, and I've been waiting to show you guys these characters for quite a little while now properly. I do apologise for the lack of content on Instagram, but obviously I did show you guys most of the build process to all these characters. And yeah, today I'm going to be finally doing a sort of mod review. Yeah, it's a bit of everything in this video today, guys. So bear with me. This may take longer than usual. I know I usually say that, but obviously it's just a safety precaution, just in case I do go a bit longer than I usually would been trying to do. So without further ado, guys, I give you the Helluva Boss main characters. There's obviously a few missing, like Vizaroli and one or two others out there. But to me, these are the characters I've really grown fond of when it comes to series. So before I talk about the models themselves, let me talk a bit about Helluva Boss as a whole. First and foremost, yes guys, I love Helluva Boss. It's an absolute hilarious series. And it has some serious moments to it, I know. There's dark humour in there, I know. But I absolutely adore it. Honestly, right. So first of all, I better explain what got me into Helluva Boss in the first place, and second of all, what's it led me to. So, I didn't even know who Vizzy Pop was. Not before the pandemic, and not after the pandemic. I only heard about. When did I hear about this to start with? It was on a YouTube video. I think it was something to do with Has Been Hotel. Yeah. There was a video that one of my other mates was playing in the background while he was playing video games. I can't remember who it was. Anyway, I was curious because I thought, that's new, never heard that before. And I don't mind my occasional dark humour and bits and pieces going on in the background. Anyway, there was this other video that popped up on my recommendation of all things, and it had this person in particular sitting in it. And obviously you guys know I do love my wolves, I love my werewolves, and hellhounds are definitely up there in my favourites. So I did some research. Bearing in mind at the time I did finally get around to finding out what the series was all about, my missus was not too well, bless her. Spent a whole month in hospital due to issues which I'm not going to talk about. But basically, let me put it this way. Over the course of maybe 2 weeks, I binged watched every episode of Helluva Boss, and I was in stitches. If it wasn't something that Blitz said, it's something that Mox said, or it's something that Millie did, or it's something that Stolas had done that had me in stitches. And obviously Luna being Luna, yeah. I love these guys, they're so freaking funny. They're awesome. So, obviously you guys know I do model building, and I like to do all types of different model builds, and I was looking around on the market to try and see if I can find some actual miniatures or full-size kits, or maybe some figures that don't look clever in the detail. Maybe I can repaint them and all that stuff. And unfortunately my results were very, very, well, niche. Let me just put it that way. Until one day when I was looking at cosplays of Helluva Boss, and I came across Luna to start with. So the one that actually started it all off for me was the one that I didn't even think you could get anything of at all. So Luna here, as you can probably tell, she's 3D printed. She looks nothing like her character in the actual series, but that's beside the point. You can tell it's Luna, I can tell it's Luna. And the person that did do the 3D print of this did an amazing job of her. Obviously, I didn't have to do much building work, guys. Her head, her arms, her legs, her tail, that was all I had to put together. The paint job is all done by me. So I built her, I painted her up, and I was very happy with what the results came out with here. The colours, in case you guys are wondering the colours used in this, it was a little while back now, so I can't remember off too hard. But I know the matte white was used, the matte 33 black was used. I used some stone grey for her hair because Luna does have grey hair. Crimson red for the eyes, a bit of white and black for the eyeballs, you can see there. And some shining silver for any metal parts on her. The blue for her top was a particular pain in the backside because I didn't have that sort of colour blue, so I had to do some mixing. If I remember correctly, I think I used a dark sea blue, then mixed it in with a little bit of Fang from Warhammer, because yeah, I think I used a bit of Fang from Warhammer as the base for the mixture, and then I mixed in a little bit of dark sea blue, and that is the results I used for that colour. Obviously don't quote me on that, guys, because I can't remember off the top of my head too well about that. Yes, I know I should make notes, and yes, I know try to remember things to the best of my ability, but you know, there's only so much you can remember when it comes to doing painting, because when you're in the zone, you don't think about the numbers or the paint numbers or all that stuff. You just think about how it looks for you. So yeah, I do apologise for that. But yeah, so Luna took it all off from there, and for a little while she stayed on the shelf, and I thought, well, I'm not going to be seeing any more of that, I don't think. Then, you know him and I love him, Mr. Colin Green introduced me to, well, I knew David. You might know David. We did do a video a couple of years back on YouTube. And, well, he has a 3D printer, which I really wanted to get my hands on. Unfortunately, I don't have a 3D printer, guys, but the rest of these figures are definitely from him. They've come off a website. Now, I'll try to give you guys a link to the website if you're interested. I do recommend it because some of the things I'm going to be working on in the foreseeable future, some of the things you're also going to see in the foreseeable future, are all from this website. So I started small and got my hands on Mox and Mills next. So obviously, if you guys know the series, these two are a couple. They're married, happily married, and they are just insane. But I wanted to get my hands on them because obviously, you know, they're the backbone of IMP. Mox in particular, I had to try to get his design down to a T because obviously we all know Mox is a sharply dressed demon. He doesn't like looking scruffy. He likes things being organised, and obviously, if anything else, he's also a good weapons specialist, and he knows his guns. You know, he's very well known in that department with things. So the crimson red is what I used on both of these figures. As a matter of fact, to a certain extent, also Blitz back there. The white there's two different types of white here. So I've got the normal matte white for some of his hair and fur bits, and obviously the fabric on his top and some of his other parts of his outfit. But there's also a gloss black and a gloss white for the horns, because obviously I wanted to make those stand out. The yellow is by Humbrol. Don't ask me what the yellow number was, guys, but there's a Humbrol yellow, and that's basically all I had to do for him. As for Mills, very similar, except obviously with her axe, because obviously that is a metallic object, and a very big and dangerous metallic object. Just watch episode 6 of season 1 to see what I mean by that. Hence the reason why it's covered in blood, because many agents got in her way, and she proceeded to turn him into, how would I put it? Well, human milkshakes. It's basically how I'd describe the remains of the poor sods that she's mutilated. Oh boy. So the idea for Mills' paint job here is she's looking really innocent there, but very happy with herself, which she does in episode 6 and when she's also in the zone of her job. So I basically covered the axe in blood and dripped a couple of drops of blood on her top, onto her hair. The horns are the gloss black I mentioned before, and yeah, that's basically all I had to use there. Oh, the stands themselves. Now these are a crimson red by Cathedral, so that, guys, in case you guys wondering what the colour is for that. The blood is Blood of the Blood Gods from Cathedral as well, so I used that into the paint job there. And yeah, just like Mox, the white is also matte white for certain parts of her skin, because I've noticed, and I never noticed this before until obviously it kind of hit me when I saw Blitz having his accident. It's the reason why he's covered in these marks. They're actually burn marks and scars and cuts from sort of things. Turns out that their skin turns white if it if it takes damage like that. So Mills has had a fair share of damage in places. You can see she's mostly okay in most areas, but she's got a couple of spots on one arm. I think she's got one on the back. No, she's fine there. But obviously she's got spots on the tail and she's got a few other small scars. I tried to mimic Mills as much as I could, but obviously there's only so much you can do because you can't catch them from all angles. But that's basically where it went on from there with the colours. Then we have Mr. Blitz himself. Now, he's actually, ironically, the smallest of the lot. As you can see, even if he was standing up, he probably stands barely as tall as Mills and Mox there. But obviously, we all know in scale, Blitz is not a tall fella. As a matter of fact, in the last episode of Season 2, he mentions he's 3 foot something, and Stolas is well over 6 foot. So yeah, I like the idea of this though. Who's done the design of this? You've got him sitting in his office chair. So this is obviously, he's in charge of IMP. He's the one that's created IMP. So he's obviously sitting there looking very pleased himself and plotting away and thinking what to kill, who's going to be killed next. Or he's probably thinking about other things in most random respects because he is a random character. Obviously, yeah, as I mentioned, he has got a very nasty burn scar on one side of his face. That was done by an explosion. If you haven't seen the series, guys, I do recommend it, but bearing in mind it's a lot of dark humour. There is, yeah, it's not for a lot of people, but if you do like these sort of things, you probably will get into it very easily. It's not a bad series. I think it's good. Same with, Has Been Hotel. Anyway, so Blitz, he actually took a lot of time to get put together and paint because there's a lot more detail than there is with Mills and Mox. His boots were separate from his legs were separate from his jacket was separate from his hands, and his tail also was a loose piece. The other bit of good news I could mention about was when the head, when it came to painting up his head was actually one chunk. So I was able to do all the details I wanted to do to him there, which, as you can see, have come up pretty well. Same paint job as before when it comes to the colours, because again, tried to keep them all uniformed in their colours. So the crimson reds for the skin, gloss black and gloss white for the horns, greedy gold for his crystals, because obviously he's using teleport crystals there to get around to doing his jobs. The chair, I had a hard time trying to figure out what colours the chair were because it changed colours throughout the series. So I basically went with a dark blue and used black and white and basically called it quits from there. As you can see, he doesn't sit too finely there. If you had him separate from the chair just topples over. So he does balance it out pretty well, and he does sit, although it looks like he's on a swiveling chair, which is kind of a cool little feature to have there really with that. And yeah, that's basically Blitz for you. So those three came as a set of their own there. And then I thought to myself, now there's got to be a decent model of Stolas, if anything, out there. And out of all the figures I have built basically in the last couple of months, this is my biggest. Stolas must stand at least just over a foot in height. He weighs a lot though, I'm not joking. The person who did do the Stolas' design did him to a T. He just looks stunning. He's just bloody gorgeous. I love the pose they got him in. He's very, obviously he's elegant. He's a Prince of Hell. So in case you guys are wondering who Stolas is, he's one of the Princes of Hell. Can be a bit stuck up at times. He absolutely loves Blitz. He's obsessed with Blitz. Just watch the series and you'll see what I mean. He's just a stunning figure. So the only thing I really didn't like about this when I was painting and building him up was that cloak of his. Now it's the genuine article. It's one of his functional features that he wears all the time, apart from his lovely hat on top. But that cloak weighs a lot, and I don't think you can tell too well, but you can see the stand tends to want to fall backwards on itself because that cloak is one solid piece of resin. I'm just glad that the person who designed this obviously took into consideration, because you need a substantial size stand to put him on, and I have already experienced problems with him because he has broken off his stand a couple of times. You guys probably can't see it too well, but on his left leg there's a little crack. It sheared off, and basically, yeah, I really had to do some serious work to get him to stay in one place. I think in the end of the day, what I really did do was I glued both of his legs proper together so they're one solid piece. I made sure he wasn't going to come off his stand, and I tried to counterbalance the weight as much as possible. But obviously, there's only so much you can do when it comes to figures like this. But overall, I'm very, very impressed with how these figures come out. As for Stolas' paint job, well, most of the colours I used on him I've already used on the crew as it is, so the black is where that is from. Stone grey, obviously from Luna there as you can see, but obviously lighter tone because I didn't give him a wash. Greedy gold for all the shiny parts, a little bit of shining silver for all his chains and bits and pieces. The cloak is a dragon red, believe it or not, so that's from, not from Cathedral, it's from another company, I think it's called War Paints. And the red is the same sort of red that was used on English redcoats. So yeah, tried to make him look as elegant as possible and dangerous as possible. And if you got all the characters in the right place, which I've obviously got set up on my shelving unit on my shelving unit as a whole, I've actually got Stolas literally looking down on Blitz, because again, the obsession this guy has with him is unbelievable. Blitz is very oblivious to most of his love, but again, just watch the series, guys. It's a good series. Anyway, that's basically it for the Helluva Boss characters, and to obviously end this up, guys, this is not going to be the last time you'll see anything from the series. I am thinking of getting some characters from obviously Has-Been Hotels, because I've got to admit, you've got to have an Alistair, you've got to have a Charlie, you've got to have some of the characters from that series too. And I'm also trying to find Belzebub and one or two other figures from this lot, because they are main characters in the series as a whole as it goes on with things. But for now, guys, that's basically it for the Helluva Boss stuff. And once again, I'm sorry it took so long for me to do a review and bits and pieces of this. I will try to get a link for the website in question below, just in case you guys are interested. Bearing in mind you do need a 3D printer, obviously, or have somebody that knows how to use a 3D printer. Luna is the only character you probably won't find on this website. I got her off of eBay. Just type in Luna model kit, that comes up. But the rest of them, type in Helluva Boss in the main website's search, and you should find his characters along the way, in case you guys are interested. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Thank you for watching this video. Next video, we're going to be talking a little bit differently about, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different to model kits, as obviously it is related to Helluva Boss, but it's obviously something I'm planning to do later on this year. So for now, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you all in the next one. Have a nice weekend. Look after yourselves out there. Ta-ta for now. Stop staring at me.